show you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
What could be greater than a king?
A hero.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
You're part of this too.
How am I part of it?
You'll see.
All right, welcome to the DC Films Unlimited podcast. And this series, we're talking about all DC films. And this episode, we're talking about the Batman movie coming out on March 4th. Matt Reeves' Batman. I have Darren from Detective Comic Talks here with me to talk about the Batman movie, dude. I'm hyped as fuck for this movie. How about you?
Oh my god. My excitement levels can't get any higher. But Alex, hello. Welcome back.
Hello, man. How you doing? It's been too long.
I know, it's been, what, a week?
About like 3 days, whatever.
But see, like, after that last show, I just couldn't wait to get back on. Like, I was so... I left that show even more pumped for The Flash than I did when the show started. I don't know how that's possible, but somehow I did.
That Zod stuff, man. Zod neck snap being erased, possibly, you know? I'm getting excited.
I thought that was just like a throwaway thing, Zod, if you were in the movie, and then you told me your theories, and then I walked away like, oh my god, like,
why else?
This could be incredible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But this episode, we're talking about the Batman. Matt Reeves' Batman. Dude, this movie's going to change my life. It's going to change our lives forever.
It seems to be changing people who have saw its lives already, so, I mean, everything I've heard for this movie seems to be... It's arguably as good, if not better, than The Dark Knight.
Everybody that's seen the early test screens are nothing but positive praise for the movie. And they actually tested a 4-hour cut of the movie, which is wild that they shot that much footage for this movie.
No.
And we know Matt Reeves likes to world build and stuff in his movies. So I expect a lot of world building in this. But yeah, I fully expect it to be better than the Nolan trilogy because there's something about the Nolan trilogy that, you know, they're the great films, you know, it's some of my favorite films of all time, but they're not quite Batman. You know what I'm saying? It's just, he doesn't really go into the whole DC universe or, you know, doing the fantastical things that Batman does in the comics and stuff like that. They don't go that direction in the Nolan movies. And in this Matt Reeves movie, we're getting all that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like a true, like, Batman coming from the comics to the big screen. You're going to get fantastical stuff. You're going to get, like, grounded, serious stuff.
Yeah, like, see, with the Nolan movies, I love them. And obviously, they're the pinnacle of comic book movies. Like, you're not going to get, in my opinion, anything better than those 3 movies. Like, it starts well, it just gets better and better. So, if I'm honest, like, when the Batman was first announced, I kind of was hoping that we would continue the sort of, you know, that DCEU Batman in a universe where the Justice League exists, etc. That's what I was hoping that would happen. And then we found out what Matt Reeves was planning, a year 2 story. It was going to be very grounded. And obviously then we started to see, as we'll discuss, the suit, the car. And at first, I'll admit, I wasn't sold on it. I was a bit like, okay, we seem to be doing a sort of Nolan-esque hyper-realism story, but as we'll get onto in a minute, like, this movie, the trailers, what we've seen behind the scenes, oh my, I'm sold. Like, I mean, I need this movie tomorrow. I need it yesterday, but I don't know if I can wait another month.
But it's a short month. It's February. Short month here. It's less than 30 days away.
Yeah, considering the amount of delays we've had in this movie, we should have had the movie, over a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like October 2021. It was like their initial date. It seems more like a Halloween movie because we have the whole serial killer aspect with the Riddler and stuff. By the way, did you listen to the Riddler soundtrack?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's very good.
I know. It's like, it's like, I was discussing this with my friend the other day there, and I was saying to him, it's like this movie's coming out, and it's like a movie that it can't not win. Like there's nothing. I have seen nothing from this movie to make me go, oh, maybe. Like I know I said previously there that when I initially saw what Matt Reeves was doing, I was unsure, but that wasn't as much about Matt Reeves. That was more like my tastes of the Batman character have sort of moved on in the last few years, but I've wanted to see Batman in a broader universe. And as you can imagine, after seeing, what was that, 7, 8 solo Batman movies, I maybe did want something different, but Matt Reeves has just reminded me, like, no, this is why I want to see Batman in his own world, like with the Bat characters, building that out. It's so strange how I've went from being that mentality to, no, like, please don't bring the Gal Gadots into this world, please don't do that, like, please let Matt Reeves be himself and build out his universe himself.
Oh, yeah. And I really feel like they are building, like, a whole different universe here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you want to get into that right now, or just keep talking about the hype, because if you go on IMDb right now, the Batman is the #1 most anticipated film. It had a viewer poll on IMDb, and it won that most anticipated film of 2022 across the board here. I think it's number 6 popularity thing on the IMDb, which is really good. It's insane. Just keeps going up. Huge hype for this movie. The box office projections just came out too, not even a few days ago of us recording this, and they're saying opening weekend is like going to be over 150 million domestic opening weekend, and the total domestic run of that's going to have is going to be around like 500 million, possibly. And that's massive. That's like bigger than Batman versus Superman, and well on the way to that $1 billion mark that they want.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. If the movie's just okay, it's going to break $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? If it's not like a complete dumpster fire, it's going to break that $1 billion mark probably.
Alex, I'm not, like a Nostradamus type. I don't like predicting the future and stuff, but one thing I can tell you is this movie's going to be good.
Yeah, me too. I everything I've seen from the movie, every frame, the music that we've seen, only the 2 tracks, the Batman theme and the Riddler theme, both excellent. They both sound, like they fit inside the tone that they're going for. And every shot from the movie, like every single frame that we've seen, the composition is just so well done. Everything looks so good in the movie. There's no way it's going to be bad. There's just no way.
So they've not chased, proven actors, the ones we've seen over and over again. They've went for up-and-coming actors who are, maybe you would say actors who maybe aren't, A-listers like Zoe Kravitz and Paul Dano, but who are fantastic actors in their own right. So
Jeffrey
all
Wright
of that,
also.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these are fucking amazing actors. Yeah.
And these aren't actors that maybe you would see in Andy Serkis especially. I mean, this is a guy who's the mocap guy. This is a guy who has only recently started to get work as himself in front of the camera. But he's a fantastic actor in his own right. But it's just looking at the casting. What we've heard, especially from Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, the way they're talking about the characters, the care they're showing. They're talking about these characters is that from their heart and where they want to see the characters going and developing. And that's the sort of stuff that I want to hear. It's not, just sort of like, WB, give me a paycheck and I love Batman, or the typical, I love The Dark Knight Returns, like those sort of lines we've heard so many times. It's when they start talking about wanting to get into the backstory with the Waynes and Gotham City being a character itself. It's very reminiscent, what we saw with Nolan. But I just think looking at this world, that these just what we can see for this world, I think it's going to be even better than Nolan. And that sounds crazy to say, but this looks like it could be just that wee bit more, comic booky. Just that wee bit more. I feel like Nolan, like the Catwoman character, they would never call her Catwoman. She would be referenced as like the cat. And it was like just that wee bit missing. And I think that's what we're going to get with Reeves.
Yeah. And if you remember back to the trailer, the last trailer for the Batman, like he's in her apartment and just cats everywhere. Like that's Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? Like that, just little details like that. was missing from like the Nolan version. Like there wasn't that many cats around Catwoman in Nolan's version, right? I think you saw like one cat in that movie. It's like I like little details like that reference back to the characters.
Yeah,
that's just in the world. Yeah, as far as like the cast of this movie, lots of talented actors that aren't A-list. You know, Robert Pattinson, he's not an A-list actor, but he's got to be one of the most talented, young actors in Hollywood. And it's funny, I think he's only getting paid maybe $4 million to be Batman or something like that.
Yeah, it is really, really low because I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, maybe 2019, when this movie was casting, they were going after Jonah Hill to be in the movie. It was rumoured Penguin, but I think it was actually the Riddler. I think it came out it was actually the Riddler they were looking at him for. And Jonah Hill was looking for $10 million to star in the movie. Now, this is a sign of where WB are now, because this Batman movie, if the production budget's to believe, is only costing $100 million.
Yeah.
$100 million. That is what we are looking at. Looks easily like a 250, 300 million production.
Oh yeah.
And he was looking for 10 million of that. Think about it. That's 10% of the budget he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously talks broke down. We managed to get Paul Dano, who I'm absolutely ecstatic is going to be the Riddler. We'll get to him in a moment. But the fact that they've managed to get a talent like Robert Pattinson for that, sort of salary, I suspect if the movie smashes, which I believe it will, he will obviously earn more in future movies. But Robert Pattinson, from what we've seen, just obviously we can only go on the clips and the trailers and the still images we saw. He looks incredible, and it looks a very, very different Bruce Wayne than we've ever seen before. Yeah,
more neurotic Bruce Wayne. It's like he's so obsessed with vengeance that he doesn't even function as Bruce Wayne. He doesn't even have that persona as Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman all the time. I feel like that's what this movie's probably going to tackle the most. And I feel like maybe by the end of this movie or later in the series of this movie, we're going to see Robert Pattinson form his Bruce Wayne persona more, as the billionaire playboy as the series goes on and stuff. But I like this whole we're year 2, he's still figuring it out as Batman. He's not Batman yet. He's still trying to reel in his anger and stuff. He's smashing people's faces till they're flattened. It's not. He's not polished.
As long as he doesn't kill, I can't take another few years of Twitter arguments. I can't take that again.
He might. That's the thing, though. I feel like there might be an accidental killing that maybe Batman does in the movie, and maybe Riddler holds that up against him and stuff like that. You're no better than anybody else in the city, Batman type thing. And maybe that's where Batman starts changing his ways type thing. I don't know. There's so many directions this movie could go, and I love that it's 3 hours long. So we're gonna get a lot of world building. We're gonna get a lot of story, and we know that the Gotham PD show is tied into this. It'll be a show on HBO Max, and in this movie they've cast tons of people as officers, Barry Keoghan. I don't know how to say his name, but people were saying that he's gonna be the Joker or something like that. That's his secret role. But in IMDb, they have him cast as Officer Stanley Merkel, who is an actual character from the comic books and stuff like that. And I feel like that's probably going to tie into the Gotham PD show. They also have another cop on here, too. That's obviously Jeffrey Wright is going to be in the Gotham PD show. And some other people, you saw him in the funeral scene, that one cop that was like, hey, Bruce Wayne, that guy's going to be in the show too.
Do you know, I was going to say to you about that scene.
Yeah.
It was the first time, I know it was only a short clip, it was 4 minutes, if even that long, but it was the first time you saw a cop in Gotham communicating with, one of the main actors. And I think that was intentional from Matt Reeves, of course, with his GCPD show, which is supposed to be set, before the Batman. I think that was intentional, and I think, like you say, casting Barry Keoghan in the role, that probably ties into that show, because I feel like he is the sort of actor that could lead a show like that along with Jeffrey Wright. But as DC fans, we love a rumour, don't we? Like, obviously Barry being like he's going to be the Joker.
Yeah.
We can go far back as Jenna Malone was going to be Batgirl. You remember Scoot McNairy? He was going to be the Flash.
Oh yeah.
It's just it was going to be Metallo as well. Like there's just so many. Like DC fans love a rumour when it comes to casting the movie, don't they?
Oh yeah, dude. The theories go wild. They go wild for that. But yeah, as you said, Barry, he's not that expensive of an actor, so it would make sense if he was in some kind of TV series too. And most of the people on this cast listing, I think the most expensive person was probably Colin Farrell for the Penguin. Like he's got to be your most top paid actor here. Peter Sarsgaard's also in the movie. Peter Sarsgaard played Hector Hammond in Green Lantern 2011. Isn't that fun?
But I don't, I still haven't seen Colin Farrell in the movie. I've not seen him once.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the Penguin. He's that. Yeah, I mean, you can't see him.
Is he the Penguin? Yeah. Is that him?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
If this movie doesn't win, if this movie does not win the Academy Award for Best Makeup, then like I am telling you, like I've watched the trailers, the clips. I cannot see him in that role. Like for the fantastic voice he's putting on, where he almost sounds like the Arkham City, Arkham Knight Penguin voice. That East End Bother boy, London. If you hear a wee bit of the voice that's coming out of the Penguin, and it just the look, he just looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he does. I mean, unrecognizable. I can't even tell it's him. Pretty incredible. And he looks a lot like an Alex Ross Penguin from Kingdom Come.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Looks identical. It's crazy. And I like that it's not like he's not a short, like 4-foot penguin like we've seen from Danny DeVito and stuff in the past. And I like that. Like it's his face. That's why people are calling him a penguin. You know what I'm saying? He just has a weird face.
I was worried. I'm not going to lie, Alex. When the cast was coming together, like I said at the start, I'm being brutally honest here. Like I was reserved with this movie, and I'm not going to lie about that. It just felt, and this isn't me being negative, like I am so excited for this movie. It just, at the beginning, after Ben Affleck, I kind of wanted more of that. But like I say, when Matt Reeves first announced the cast, I remember when he announced Colin, he called him Oz. And for a moment, I got that sad feeling that I thought they were going to try and do the Telltale series, that sort of penguin, and I thought, I don't want that. Please give me a comics accurate penguin. And then they cast Colin Farrell, and I was like, oh, I don't think they're going to do Penguin. I can't see him. And then there was rumours going around that he put on weight, etc. And I was like, hold on, this could work. And then we see him in full makeup, and I'm like, oh my god, like they are giving us like comics accurate Penguin, like even more. Like Danny DeVito. He played the role of Penguin, and it was a completely different Penguin than we'd seen in the past, but his Penguin almost became what was expected of the Penguin for the next 2 decades. Like he became what we've seen in the Batman animated series, or the Batman, the 2004 series. Like that became like the go-to Penguin design and characteristics.
Zoe Kravitz, I think, is an excellent actor too. She was in a movie called Dope, and I thought she was really good in that.
Yes.
So she's up and coming too. She hasn't been on a ton of stuff, and I feel like she's the perfect like type of Catwoman for this Batman. She just seems very cat-like. I don't know. Is there a better way to say that?
Zoe Kravitz, she's kind of that is the Miller type to me. Where like WB keep pushing her, or studios in general just keep pushing her. She's had a shot in the X-Men. She was in First Class. She had a shot in the Divergent series. She was in Mad Max Fury Road, and also she was in Fantastic Beasts. So like studios like her, like they're really giving her chances. It seemed with kind of Ezra Miller a little bit, but had a little bit of fame at the start, and they're sticking by them. Studios, they're giving them these big franchises, but they're just waiting for that one to pop. And I stand by. I think the Flash will be Ezra's moment to really step forward, and
it's going to have to be.
It's going to have to be. I mean, everything's on the line. The Flash, and I feel like Zoe Kravitz, this is her role. I think just for what I've seen, what we know of her as an actress and as a person, I think this could be the definitive Catwoman. Right now, Michelle Pfeiffer's the one to beat, in my opinion. But this could be the Catwoman. Like, we look at it the same way I just said about Danny DeVito being the go-to Penguin for the last 2 decades.
Oh yeah, and yeah, Zoe Kravitz. She's starting off with like that leather outfit too, like the Arkham games. So I'm hoping she gets some kind of like cat cowl by the end of the movie to make her really look like the Arkham City like Catwoman type thing. Warner Brothers first offered Matt Reeves the Ben Affleck script, which was like going to be like Arkham Asylum, you know, James Bondy and lots of action, very comic booky. And he turned that down to make his more like grounded Batman. But the more you see of this Batman, it seems more fantastical. Like even the skyline of Gotham looks very comic booky, very like you see all the buildings from the comics and stuff. And you read the prequel book. It's the graphic novel of the movie Batman.
It's the novelization of. It's not a novelization of the movie. It's a novelization of before the movie, like say prequel. So it was sort of it was taking you through different spells in Bruce Wayne and actually Edward Nashton's life prior to the Batman beginning. So basically, when this book ends, essentially the movie and Matt should start. You know, like cool. if all intents and purposes are right at the end of this book.
That's cool. That's cool because there was a little character mentioned in that book, and it was just according to you, it's just a reference. But Lex Luthor was mentioned, and LexCorp was mentioned at some point. And I'm thinking like they could easily put the LexCorp tower in the Gotham skyline. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be like your subtle nod to the fact that there is a wider DC universe. And maybe you're right. Maybe Matt Reeves didn't plan on that when he's making, the pre-production for this movie. But as they're making it, they're like, why not? Why not make a little like allusion to some other stuff that's happening in the DC universe? Especially if this takes off and like the Flash film doesn't do that good, they can fall back on this Matt Reeves universe and you could build the wider DC universe with it.
I think you're totally right. Like I think that is probably the plan at this point. I think they've probably said to themselves, we're going to give the DCEU another go. They have had, no matter what people try and tell you online, the DCEU is on a really good high right now. They've had quite a few hits, from Aquaman through Shazam. Birds of Prey, box office wasn't there, but it was a hit critically. And again, same with James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, and then Peacemaker's just, that's the talk of the town right now. But I think they've built in a escape hatch so that if, the Flash does, go wayward and doesn't work, then they can turn around to this universe and say, okay, let's build it out. But talking about this book, I don't really want to get too spoilery just in case people listen to it. But then again, that isn't that much spoilers. But what I would say is the book gives us an idea of who this Bruce Wayne is. And I'll maybe briefly sort of touch on it. When Bruce was young, in this story, he doesn't live in Wayne Manor. His father actually puts the house up for to be used as an orphanage, which makes sense because where I stay in Glasgow, just outside of Glasgow, they were doing shooting for the Batman here. They shot it in London and Liverpool primarily, but they did a bit of shooting in Glasgow, and they used an abandoned building. And the word on the street here was it was going to be an abandoned orphanage at the time. And I've actually visited the actual building since, and I can tell you it's really big. It used to be a mental hospital for people, and I thought when I saw it, I was like, oh, this could be like an old Arkham Asylum. Maybe Bruce Wayne will put his money into a new modern one. But after reading the book, all I'll say with it, can I be too spoilery, is the Waynes lived in Wayne Tower. That's where Bruce Wayne was brought up. He wasn't brought up in Wayne Manor. So Thomas and Martha Wayne gave the house, sold the house off to become an orphanage. And when, obviously, the Wayne family moved to Wayne Tower, and that's where they lived their life. And in that orphanage, a boy the same age as Bruce, who is Edward Nashton, who grows up to be the Riddler, he is one of the orphans. And reading the book, he resents Bruce Wayne. He resents everything Bruce Wayne had. He doesn't like the fact that he lived in Bruce Wayne's house. He feels almost like he's sort of like a servant, almost like a beggar taking, Bruce's house and living in Bruce's like life. And then, as the book describes, inside Wayne Manor, they still have a big portrait up of Thomas and Martha Wayne and Bruce. And as an adult, that house is burnt down by Edward Nashton. He goes back and burns Wayne Manor down. So when the Batman begins, Wayne Manor's not there.
Wow. So the movie starts with Wayne Manor burnt down.
Yeah, burned down, and it makes sense with the building now. Now I'm putting it together. Hopefully that is almost a spoiler, but I've just got to put this together in my head. It makes sense with the rumours that they were going to use it as an abandoned orphanage, and now I've heard that now I've read the book. It makes sense that abandoned building, which it is burnt in half when I visited it, would be the remains of Wayne Manor.
That's dope. That's dope. That's an interesting take. It almost sounds like a Thomas Elliot, almost Riddler. Yeah,
it feels like a play on that.
You knew Bruce as a kid and stuff like that. I mean, when they first showed images from the duct taped face that was in the trailers for Batman, I thought Hush was in the movie. I'm like, oh shit, we got Hush in this movie now. I think if you're going to get Hush ever, it's going to be in this universe. Oh,
I think we are going to get that, and I think everybody will be in this universe. I think one thing actually, just quite briefly before we touch on the book again, one thing I thought this universe would be a Bat family type universe, but I think maybe it's going to be more Bat and the Cat. I feel like it might be a bit more them, and maybe that's why the DCEU side is going to be a lot more. We're getting teases of Robin, Nightwing, obviously the Keaton Batgirl thing going on there. I think maybe they've allowed the DCEU to play with the Bat family a bit more, and maybe they're going to focus on Zoe and Robert Pattinson in the Batman movies. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I was thinking it was going to be more Bat family too, and the amount of villains they're putting in the movie, they're definitely trying to, build up this Bat universe a lot. That 3-hour movie is going to be a lot of world building, of course.
That is a multiverse, and if you're going to actually do a multiverse, not just use the word multiverse, because I feel like a lot of us are still unsure, are DC really going to do a multiverse and have alternative characters? Because like you were saying there about creating a new DCEU in the Matt Reeves universe, if they're going to actually do a multiverse, why not have another Wonder Woman, another Aquaman, another Supergirl, another Batgirl? I don't think they will, just from a business point of view. I don't think they'll want to, have competing, you already sort of see it with Michael Keaton being the new Batman, with Robert Pattinson, the younger one. It's like, there's no chance of any competition there, because Michael Keaton is going to be Batman maybe 25% of the time, and then the other 75% of the time, maybe even more than that, will be Bruce Wayne. So, you can see what they're trying to do. They are letting multiple versions exist, but they aren't. It's quite clever.
Yeah, Michael Keaton fits more with a Justice League situation anyway, because Batman's always the one making the plans in the Justice League. He's not really in the field all the time with them.
Well, we've seen BVS and how painful it was to watch Ben Affleck rolling about and throwing smoke grenades at Doomsday. It was a painful experience. Yeah,
hiding under some debris to get away from Doomsday's blast or something like that. Batman can't do much, in the field with the Justice League. But he can make the plans. He could be telling them what to do. And that's what Keaton, that's his role. That's what it should be. Keaton should be the Batman that's at the computer helping them,
Totally. That should totally.
But this is Robert Pattinson. This is more of a functional in the field Batman. That's Batman more than he is Bruce Wayne type thing. And I think the only person we haven't really talked about much is Paul Dano as Riddler, which I was over the moon when he was cast, because his role in There Will Be Blood was one that blew me away when I first saw it. Almost unrecognizable, even though he's not changing anything about his face, but just the character he is just an incredible performance. And there was another movie where he played a serial killer at the beginning of the movie. It's called Taking Lives. It was a long time ago.
Yes, I've seen that. Fantastic. No, it's fantastic.
And that's another role that makes me think that they cast this right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could pull off creepy, really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is up his alley,
For me, it was 12 Years a Slave. I thought he was absolutely fantastic in that as well. This is just a fantastic character actor. This is the casting that is so out the box for WB. Like, I'm telling you, like you see when Joker come out, like, and Joker's a fantastic movie, right? It's a very good character piece, not very comics accurate, but it's a very good take on a man with mental illness. And they go for Joaquin Phoenix. Now, Joaquin Phoenix is a fantastic actor and deserved his Academy Award, but that's the sort of casting WB normally go for, the established actor. Like I say, like we're hearing rumours that they're looking for an older Hal Jordan to join the DCU, and they're looking at Tom Cruise. Like, that's the sort of casting I expect for WB, not Paul Dano, not to go for a guy who's just a working actor, a character actor, somebody, he's not the most handsome guy in the world. I'm not saying he's an ugly looking man, but I'm just saying he's not the most handsome man in the world. That's exactly what I'm looking for in the Riddler, and it seems to me as well, the material they're giving him, with this Saw, this Saw murdering, puzzle making Riddler.
Yeah, every box is checked with Paul Dano. Like, I was just blown away by the casting of this actor.
What do you think of the Zodiac killer mask?
Oh yeah, I thought it was. I think it's a genius idea, because it not only does it kind of get rid of the whole goofy like Riddler thing, where like he's, he looks like a cartoon character all the time in the books and stuff like that. And yeah, he should be kind of like over the top and fantastic, but I like this initial take, like this first go at him being Riddler, and he's like kind of still figuring it out, and he's just more of a serial killer. I like that version of Riddler. Like, he's killing people. Like, he's not, like, he's a straight up, there's nothing really goofy about him. He's setting up traps for people, and he's killing them if they don't figure out their riddles. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
he's the Riddler.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
This is, like you say, like, this is a complete different take, but this is what, I remember, 10, 15 years ago, there was rumours that in Batman 3, that Nolan was going to do the Riddler, and there was a lot of rumours of how he would do it. This is what I thought he would do.
Yeah.
This is the sort of, I'm not saying like Nolan's the blueprint, blah, 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 because we've seen what happened with Man of Steel and BVS when Nolan was the blueprint, so I don't want Nolan to be like the blueprint of everything. But I think that if we were to have seen a Riddler in that world, this would have been it. And watching what Paul Dano's doing and watching the trailers and how it's been executed, it's just absolutely perfection. Like, perfection.
Amen. I mean, they're going to make the Riddler like a menacing, like, evil villain. Like, more evil than he's probably ever been. It's probably going to be in this movie. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see more of the Riddles, too, because we only got like 2 of them so far, I think. I can't wait to see more of them. And Batman,
I'd like to see him do like some kind of Riddler trophy type thing. Like, I don't know how you would do that. I think it's just too far. Like, I think it's probably too far to do. But it would be cool if they done some sort of like every crime scene he's leaving some sort of like a riddle. I know riddle looking a bit of paper, like just like a question mark. Maybe it's just too much to ask. But I don't know. I feel like it would be a cool little Easter egg. Maybe that is just a touch to that. Again, that's maybe more what Keaton's Batman would be sort of facing, that sort of Riddler. But like down leaving riddles and question marks and being like Jim Carrey and jumping about mad. But I think this one maybe wouldn't do that. But I still think, just looking at what Matt Reeves is doing, you never know. I feel like he is willing to start messing with the comic stuff a bit more.
Oh yeah, because Matt Reeves has talked nonstop about the comics. Like, wow, he's a huge fan. He's read some of the biggest like books, like Batman Ego by Darwin Cook. Most people don't even know what that fucking book is. Like, that's
a sensational book. That is a sensational book,
and it ties into New Frontier. I mean, Justice League New Frontier. So, like, what you think Matt Reeves is thinking? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? At least I know Matt Reeves knows about the comics and stuff. If he's mentioning books like that, and going for that angle. And I just love that it's taking place in like Batman's second year, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we've gotten the beginning of Batman's story and we've gotten the end of it a few times now. And I've been waiting for Batman's like glory years, like on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like age 25 to 33, like the most important years of Batman's career type thing. Like
I feel like the only time we've ever really got that
Dark
would have
Knight.
been maybe the Keaton movies.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like that was Batman. You know, like, and again, it's a very cinematic take on Batman of the time. You know, like very trying to sort of make Batman grim and, you know, try to make him more appealable to that to the
But
audience.
it's prime Batman though. He's full on Batman. You know, he knows everything already. Like that's prime Batman.
One thing I read in the book, which I thought was fantastic, is, you know, the whole Andy Serkis as Alfred. I wasn't sure if it was going to be year one Alfred, which it very much so seems like it's going to be. It's going to be like the military take on Alfred. But one thing I discovered reading the book is Alfred is very much involved in running the Wayne Enterprises, which I found was very weird. I found that very interesting. I thought it was a really different take for Alfred. And also I discovered that Bruce Wayne, when he's been, he was, instead of travelling the world and being trained by Ra's al Ghul in this version, he's travelled the world, went to different universities, learned, you know, chemistry, biology, like criminal physics. But every time he's went to a different university to learn, he's went to a different country, and when he's there, he's learned their local martial arts.
Yeah. So
I thought that was quite clever. It's a good way to sort of navigate the whole. Is he part of the League of Shadows or, you know, League of Assassins, whatever you want to call it? It's quite a cool way to navigate that, and I thought it was a pretty good twist on the character.
Yeah, because you can't do it again. Because like Batman Begins already did the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul. And
totally.
I actually like Batman Begins a lot for combining like Henry Ducard and Ra's al Ghul into the same character. So like Batman learns
really
the martial arts and he learns the detective stuff from the same guy type thing. I like that. I wonder if they're just going to bring like Henry Ducard into this Matt Reeves universe as, you know, some, you know, just another way to establish that Batman knows how to be a detective type thing. Because that's the only thing that we really don't get from Batman movies is him doing a bunch of detective work, trying to figure that. And that's what this movie is. Like he's trying to solve a murder. Yeah. He's trying to solve a murder spree, you know, find a serial killer type thing. That's awesome.
And one that's really good because when was the last time we saw Batman? You know, the only time I can really think I seen Batman solve a crime again would probably I'd have to go back to Batman '89 when he figures out the Joker's toxic mix for the Smilex. I mean, that's the only time I can really think I saw Batman being a detective. You know, everything else is more asking Alfred to do running about or convenience.
Yeah, Dark Knight, you had the whole bullet. He's like tracking Joker's thumbprint on a bullet. I think that's about as much detective work as you get. But I feel like we're going to get a lot more in this Matt Reeves Batman movie. It's going to really lean into that because, as you said, that they haven't mentioned Lucius Fox at all yet in this Matt Reeves universe.
He wasn't mentioned in the book. He wasn't mentioned in the book either.
All right, so like they might not go that angle. Maybe in the later movies they will. But as of right now, it looks like Batman is creating everything on his own, like the Batmobile, his gadgets, his suit. He's creating all that with just the help of Alfred, probably.
Just again, I've tried to dance down this book, but again, in the book, it mentions that he's been working on the Batmobile since the age of 16. It was a pet project of his. And also, I found a really cool thing was what the Batcave is in an abandoned subway tunnel, as we've all assumed, and the entrance to the subway tunnel, it actually was a underground from Wayne Tower, so where he obviously grew up in this version of the Batman. There's an old subway tunnel that the ancestors of the Waynes used as like an escape if anything ever happened.
Because the Waynes are not good, right? They're like, aren't they a crime family type thing?
And I think that's maybe where they're going to lean into. I definitely think the Court of Owls will be heavily involved in this trilogy at some point. We've got a grip on kind of what the Riddler is and what he's doing. But this movie's 3 hours long. It can't just be Batman versus Riddler for 3 hours. Like, there's got to be more to it, and we don't even know. We don't even know. Like, people are sitting there saying that, we've seen too much in the trailers. Have we? Like, all I've seen is
Same
Batman,
scenes.
Catwoman, Riddler.
Fucking he's chasing Penguin. You know what I'm saying? He's chasing
Yeah.
Penguin in the streets in his Batmobile.
Yeah.
That's about it. We've seen like 2 real scenes really from the movie. Everything else is just snippets. It's like flashes of other scenes and stuff. So, but there's only 2 scenes we've actually seen: the funeral scene, where the car burst through the door, and the chase on the highway. Was chasing Penguin. Dude, there's so much, I just can't get over the underground aspect, because you know who's underground in those sewers. There's a couple characters that could be down there. We got Killer Croc that could be down there. We got Solomon Grundy that could be down there too. So, you know, if they made any kind of like reference to Solomon Grundy while like Batman's underneath this fucking, going the underground way,
it's strange because,
awesome.
like I say again, like if you asked me 6 months ago, would we get Killer Croc or Solomon Grundy? I'd turn around and go, no, they're going to be DCU only. They're never going to have them in a realistic Batman movie. But see now, like everything's on the table. I genuinely believe Mr. Freeze could be next, and I believe we'll probably get the Heart of Ice animated series. Like we're going to get pitch perfect, cold killing Mr. Freeze. Like Matt Reeves is like, without even seeing the movie, Matt Reeves has told me that this guy is the guy to lead Batman for the next decade.
Most likely. And I have no reason to believe why he wouldn't want to do it too. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get paid a lot of money to make these movies, and he likes the character. It's something he's wanted to do. So why would he want to leave? And he's showrunning the animated series, and he's showrunning the TV shows that are going to be on HBO Max. So like he's got his whole he's dipped into this universe completely.
I think as well, like what we're saying there about obviously the GCPD, we know that's getting lined up, and obviously also there's been a Penguin show with Colin Farrell greenlit as well. So with those 2 projects, it sort of shows me that the movie in the past, obviously with the Dark Knight,
there was nothing tied into the Dark Knight. You remember the Dark Knight trilogy? Nothing. There was no TV shows. There was no comic book series. You know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing. It was just
I think like with the totally like with this with HBO Max and with them needing content for that streaming service, with that sort of aspect to it, it sort of means that these movies can focus on Batman. Like they can be about Bruce Wayne, they can be about the character, and characters can come into it. Like we can have Paul Dano. We don't really need to set him up because he can easily be spun off into a 8-part miniseries on HBO Max, and like that's the beauty of having the streaming service. It shouldn't be seen as they're just trying to like take the piss out and try to like make spin-offs or spin-off sakes. No. Like when you've got like a movie that's a character piece and it's trying to tell a story about like maybe a story that's never been told before about Batman, HBO Max is a great weapon for you to sort of expand on it, to give these characters that sort of backstory that you can't really give them in live action.
Oh yeah, dude. And I gotta feel like Matt Reeves wants to be a part of that, and he wants to create this universe and stuff and build all this up. And yeah, dude, if they do Mr. Freeze next, that'd be great. I don't think they're gonna kill Riddler either. I don't think that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is gonna be a Batman series where Batman puts these people in Arkham type thing, and we're gonna get a new look at Arkham.
I think like what they're doing is almost like Sony are trying to do with Spider-Man. It's like Batman, Spider-Man are the 2 characters that can exist in their own world. They don't need the greater universe. Like I feel like Superman has got limitations. I feel like Wonder Woman's got limitations, but they need that broader, connected universe, just because they have got limitations in the characters and in their specific worlds. Same with characters like Shazam. So it makes sense for them to all connect. But Batman can be on his own. Like Batman's got so much growth there, so much. We haven't even scratched the surface on Batman. Like we've had Batman movies way back to 1966, through to 89, obviously through the Dark Knight and through obviously the DCEU era, and we haven't even scratched the surface of Batman. Like we haven't even. We can look in our shelves and we can see hundreds, thousands of comics that haven't even been teased yet. I feel like we've done, the Joker 100 times. We've done the origin story 1,000 times. Even the book didn't even explain the origin; it just sort of skipped over it.
Good.
They've done a time jump, so I'm like, even Matt Reeves himself, as a fan, knows, look, we've done that. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most exciting part for me, is that we are going to be getting into these areas of Gotham, into these stories that are sort of modern day. Year one. Not year one. What do you call it again? The Jeff Johns story.
Oh, Earth One. Yeah.
Earth One. My apologies. I called it year one the whole episode. No, the Earth One by Jeff Johns. We're going to go into these sort of different stories that we haven't touched before. Maybe we're going to go into Arkham Asylum. We're going to go into the Long Halloween. We're going to do Hush. It's going to be these stories that us Batman fans wanted. But we want to see Batman going to the Penguin, interrogating them for information, then having to go to Two-Face for information, and having to go to Falcone for information. Like, that's what we want. We could potentially, in a couple of years' time, could have a sequel to this movie where we've had a couple of spin-offs, we've introduced even more characters, and then the big threat in the next movie, maybe we have to go through 2 or 3 characters that have been set up in spin-offs on the first movie to get to the big bad, and that's what we're wanting, as Batman fans. I think we're tired of the same old sort of Batman on his own, Batman and Alfred stories. I feel like we've completed that. But there's so much more to be tapped into, and I feel like Matt Reeves is onto something here.
Yeah, because I felt like that was something the Nolan trilogy fell short of, because they did an amazing job in The Dark Knight establishing Two-Face, right? They did like a perfect origin for Two-Face, and then they just kill him at the end of the movie. Like, I feel like Matt Reeves' Batman will establish like a new Harvey Dent, and like they're not going to kill him. Say he's going to become Two-Face, and then he's going to be in another movie and stuff like that. That's kind of what I want. I don't want these villains to be one and done. I want them to like get their shine in these movies, and then they come back in future movies type things. You know what I'm saying? And just building the Batman universe like that, and building up these villains and stuff like that, I think is the best way forward.
Well, we've touched on Two-Face, obviously. Like, I think
because in this movie, I think Peter Sarsgaard is playing District Attorney Gil Collins. So I'm expecting Peter Sarsgaard to die in this movie, and then a new District Attorney will be, Harvey Dent. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that will be the direction they go, right?
I think Peter. By the way, I think Peter could be a fantastic Two-Face. Like, if that was a switch.
Yeah, if that was just like a plant name and he's actually Harvey Dent, that would be great. But
I think we're overthinking that. See when we're sitting saying, "Oh, maybe it could be a switcher." I think maybe we're overthinking what's actually going on. I think it is pretty simple. Like, Peter Sarsgaard is playing that character, and like you say,
Riddler's going to kill him. He's going to be like a victim of Riddler. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Yeah.
And he'll be a big sort of takeout, because that maybe that would be the final kill in the movie. But I think, like you say, there's a lot of rumours. I don't know if you remember, again, when this movie was casting. We'll go over that maybe in a later podcast. We'll go over that in a later podcast. But I remember when this movie was initially casting, there was a lot of talk of Matthew McConaughey being cast, I feel like he would be who Matt Reeves would go for as Two-Face.
Yeah, I feel like at some point you got to get a big name in these movies. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of actors that want to be in a Batman movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's tons of people going out for it.
Like, this might seem like a bit of a rant, but I think you can't underestimate the damage that DC brand took in 2016, 2017. But do you know? But this isn't me going after Zack Snyder.
Justice League really fucked up a lot of shit.
And the studio had a massive part to play in that. If not, it was equal, 50-50.
I would say it did more damage than Green Lantern in 2011, because the thing with Green Lantern is nobody went to go see the movie, so it didn't really do any damage. It just didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, the audience didn't really care about that movie either way.
I think what I would say, there's a bad taste in DC. I think now we're starting to come out of it. No matter what anybody says, even Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's created a good word of mouth for DC, and I know there is still a lot of infighting. It's dying down. I stand by that. I believe it is. This is a positive podcast, and we're really excited. But there was that bad taste in people's mouths And I believe that's why Jonah Hill was probably like, look, $10 million, because he's probably looking at it for the Ben Affleck point of view, a guy who just came off an Academy Award win, who could literally pick his next project. It didn't matter what he wanted to do. He came off and then he went and done BVS. Now, again, a lot of things happen behind the scenes, but, you know, you look at what happened to Ben Affleck, you know, and I'm not blaming Zack Snyder, I'm not blaming WB. A lot of it was Ben Affleck's personal issues, etc. But a lot of actors are probably like, look, if I'm going to be in this, I want paid, you know, like, and again, you can't underestimate when you're going to an actor like Jonah Hill. No offense to Jonah Hill, he isn't he's not Robert Downey Jr., he's not a Ben Affleck, and he's asking for that sort of cash. I'm sorry, you know, like, that just shows you. And I think maybe that happened again with McConaughey.
I think it's happening with Henry Cavill right now. I think it's like he's asking for too much to. Yeah,
but I think Henry Cavill is a different situation in the sense of maybe Henry Cavill was part of that old WB who were overspending. You know, we've seen the budgets for, you know, Man of Steel, you know, 300 million, you know, 300 plus for BVS, same as Suicide Squad. Like, he was part of that WB who thought spend now and then the people will just show up.
Just throw as much money at these movies and maybe they'll turn out good. It's the same mentality they had for like Green Lantern and stuff like that. You know, let's just overspend. Hopefully, if we spend enough money, throw enough money at it, it'll fix the problems. But I think they figured it out, dude. Like,
oh, you look at like I say, that right now, you look at Matt Reeves, the Batman, $100 million. Like,
Suicide Squad, 150 million to make that movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, they figured it out. I think
the Suicide Squad maybe like a bit in the higher end, but if you look at like Shazam, 70 million.
Yeah.
I think Birds of Prey was in that range as well, meaning, you know, yeah, Shazam made a good profit. You know, it's actually a fact known that they made more than Man of Steel profit-wise. Granted, it's on a bigger scale, but
much smaller.
Obviously, if you look at like Birds of Prey, again, a movie that, it didn't work for the mainstream, but the movie didn't cost that much, so, and you know, it probably didn't lose money in the end. Once it's like all told, it probably broke even. So like that, it's lower risk. So I think like you're saying there about McConaughey, I think that if this movie's successful and DC can continue this trend that they've picked up recently, I think you'll start to see guys like McConaughey become more interested in maybe working in the budget range that obviously DC and WB are wanting to work in now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so confident in Matt Reeves, like Batman, because just how much it costs, and it didn't overspend, and you know, they just trusted Matt Reeves to make this movie. I just have a lot of faith that it's going to be like really good. A lot of faith. Any final thoughts on the Batman, though? Any final thoughts on the Batman?
Just what I've been saying, Alex. I'm absolutely so excited for this movie.
Yeah, man.
I can't get here quick enough, and like I say, when this, like you said there, when this drops, the tickets will be on sale. We might even get another trailer, possibly.
Yeah.
With the tickets dropping. To be fair, I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah,
like I'm ready for this movie. Like I'm 100% going to be there at least 3 times the first weekend. I anticipate. I'm going to be honest. If I can get the tickets, that's the thing. I suspect this will be the hottest ticket in town. And the biggest compliment, Alex, I can say before I go, before we go for this week, the biggest compliment we can pay the Batman is Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness moved. No matter what you say, that movie was bang in there for that release date in March, and then as soon as the Batman trailer dropped, the second trailer, Doctor Strange moved within hours, and that says everything for this movie.
Yeah, man. I think Warner Bros. Is known for at least the last 2 years that they've had a home run with the Batman, and they've just been finding the right spot to release it for everybody. And you know, they're so confident in it. They greenlighting shows. They're getting Matt Reeves on multiple projects. No doubt the movie's going to be successful. It's just a question of how successful it's going to be. Is it going to be shattering all kinds of records? Is it going to be like this touted movie where people are getting tattoos of it, like type thing? You know, I feel like it might. It has that potential. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. I can't wait to.
Before we go, actually, I was going to say, Alex, what is your prediction? You know, like we're 1 mile away. I'm probably going to ask you this. another 5, 6, 7 times. But what do you predict the box office will be for the Batman?
I feel like the projections are pretty on point. Easily over 130 million opening weekend domestic. Easy. I could definitely see that. There's no other place to watch it but theaters too. For March and a couple weeks in April. So, man, Spider-Man did $1 billion in like 2-3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Spider-Man could do that.
10 days.
Yeah, it was something crazy. So, like, if Spider-Man could do that, a Spider-Man movie that really was, like, not the most cohesive thing ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just had a shit ton of cameos to get people excited. But you got a legitimately, like, good movie here with Batman. Like, people are going to spread it word of mouth. It's going to get a lot of people interested to see it. People love Batman. He's like, what, the number one most popular character in the world behind Jesus or something? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Superman?
Behind Superman.
He's Jesus, isn't it supposed to be?
Yeah, but that's how it goes. Like, it's like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Like, those are the biggest totally. Characters. So people are seeing it regardless. I think the trailers are some of the best trailers I've ever seen too. Like, for most movies, like, there's something in the way, that first trailer, like, oh my god, man. That shattered the world when that came out. Like, people.
Do you remember DC fandom that year? Like,
yeah.
Well, like the Batman was last. Even if, do you know, up to that point, I still, what I've been saying tonight in this podcast, I still had my reservations about the movie. And then I remember watching that. You know, we'd sat up and watched DC fandom. Myself and my partner and my sister was there as well, and we sat and watched it. They fell asleep, and I was the last man standing, obviously, and I was watching it.
Yeah.
And do you know, like, my jaw legit hit the floor, like, and it wasn't like drugs involved in that. Like, it was just like my jaw hit the floor watching that trailer just happen in front of me. And then I picked my phone up straight away and I watched it another 10 times, and I'm shaking the two of them, like, watch this. And it was just like, oh my god. And now, you know, I've been with theatre recently, and I'm starting to see the trailer on the big screen, and I'm pinching myself. Like, I am literally going, I cannot wait. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like, my record for DC movies, I think, weirdly enough, I saw Batman v Superman 8 times in theatres.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah. I saw Suicide Squad around about the same. I think I might have done 9 for Wonder Woman. So I think Wonder Woman, the first one, was my record. I think I'm going to beat that for the Batman. I truly do. You know, one of the weird things about living in the UK, living in Scotland, is we don't have HBO Max, and because Sky in the UK have an existing deal with Warner Brothers until I think it's 2025, we won't get HBO Max until 2025. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about the 25-day window thing coming into play, because, you know, it won't unless it goes to digital, which I actually think they'll just leave in theatres for the next couple of weeks. But obviously, a lot of this will depend on, will China give the Batman a release date?
Yeah, I wonder if they'll need China at all. I don't even think Spider-Man, I don't think that was in China the first couple of weeks it was out. I think it'd make a...
I think so. I never got China at all, Spider-Man, actually.
Yeah.
It still hasn't.
Yeah. And fuck China, dude. I'm so sick of people, like, bringing up China. Like, fucking... They fucking filmed, what, Mulan in concentration camps. No one gives a fuck about that. No one gives a fuck. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about it, but I think that the China beef is mostly with Disney.
Disney is a China shill. Like, what was that South Park episode with Mickey Mouse in China? Like, that's hilarious. But yeah, man, I expect big numbers from this. Everyone's expecting it. Hollywood Stock Exchange, fucking, what was that one? Was it the Hollywood Reporter or somebody else giving predictions?
I guess Box Office Pro was the one that announced it.
Box Office Pro.
Yeah.
Expect to see a Forbes article about this probably the week before Batman comes out with, you know, more accurate type numbers and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is not like a Suicide Squad situation where the first movie was so bad nobody went to go see the next one. The Batman, I think they've made it pretty clear that this Batman movie is not connected to any other DC movie. I think they've done a good job marketing it like that, and I think that's what's going to get people even more excited to see it. because they don't have to have any baggage from any other DC movie. You know what I'm saying? Just like this is its own thing. Just go in and enjoy it type thing.
I think the decade away as well. You can't underestimate the decade since the last Batman solo movie.
I saw Dark Knight Rises 13 times in theaters.
Oh,
loved it. Loved the movie.
No.
But that was a decade ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was to predict the box office, I think I'm fingers crossed, but I hope and I expect it'll be the highest grossing Batman movie of all time, which is just over $1 billion. Again, it was a decade ago. There's a lot more movie theatres, etc., in the world in the last 10 years. And I hope they can give Aquaman, Aquaman is like 1.2 billion.
Yeah. And that was an interesting strategy because they released that movie over like a 3-4 week period across like a bunch of different regions at different times. So it was very interesting how they made their money on that.
Well, I mean, I think Aquaman had made 350, 400 million in China before it even released in the US.
Yeah. Which they're not doing with the Batman. As far as I know, I don't think the Batman.
Worldwide in the 4th of March,
Yeah. I think it's I don't think it's getting released in China until later.
I don't think it's got China. I didn't see a China release date, but I anticipate it will because it's Batman. And they do like that sort of stuff.
Usually, these superhero movies don't do well in China. It's they do well enough in that like they don't do gangbusters. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Aquaman's the exception to that though, in the sense that movie, I think they like their CGI, once Star City's over there. Yeah, so that'll be real interesting.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what it does and what it makes, and if it's gonna shut up some people. I still don't think people are gonna shut up, even if it makes like $1 billion. If it makes like 1.2 billion, people still be like, "Oh, but Spider-Man made more." Like that's gonna be the narrative for like.
See, I don't mind
Jesus
that
Christ.
conversation.
Yeah, but
I don't. It's the conversation when it's like, right now it's like boycott WB, and then once, but then you've got that sort of weird faction going on. Which again, I need to say it's a small minority, but they're a loud minority. Let's be honest. But that minority talking will just it's. They'll then change the argument to, well, that's not DCEU, so we don't care. The same way that, back to the sort of Walter Hamada conversation we've had. Walter Hamada's had $2 billion hits. No matter what you say, that he wasn't really keen on the Joker idea, etc. He's had $2 billion hits, Aquaman and Joker, and I anticipate he's about to have a $30 billion hit.
Yeah, Batman's definitely.
Money talks.
It's gonna get damn close to $1 billion. I mean, it's fucking, if not surpass it and break it real quick.
Spider-Man did it in 10 days. I think Batman can do it in 14.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people like, oh, it's gonna make $2 billion. I'm like, you're out of your fucking minds. You're out of your fucking minds type thing.
Maybe at the end of the trilogy, if it continues at this quality, absolutely.
But anyway, let's hope this Matt Reeves movie is successful. All right, and we can get more Batman because we need to get Batman's house in order, and I want more Batman content. We're going to a Batman renaissance right now, a new Batman renaissance. We haven't had one in a while, so looking forward to all of it. Oh yeah, to Super Batmania. What should I call this episode?
Did you see Did you actually see see that? See the I don't know if you saw it. It's the popcorn dispensers. The art in theaters right now. It's like Robert Pattinson's Batman cowl.
Yeah, they're already starting it. The Little Caesars pizzas shaped like bat symbols. That's what's like.
I cannot wait, man. I love it. See, this is the time where you have to take my credit card off me.
Yeah.
Because I start seeing things, and I start going, I'll just buy that.
The toys, all the toys that are coming out for it. Jesus Christ. So
it's like, I genuinely just last week that I ended up picking up a Iron Studios. They're not out yet, but I got the Harley Quinn and I got the King Shark for the Suicide Squad. They're amazing. I think they're 1/4 scales. Iron Studios statues, they're like 100. I think the King Shark was $170 and the Harley Quinn was $160. But I can get dangerous, when I like I get excited with this stuff, man. I start buying like needless shit.
Yeah, me too.
I start going mad, and I think I'm getting into that mood. Coming into 2023, I think it's going to be the year we deserve. After so many years to talk, just to finish off this podcast, because I know we're going to speak about this Batman probably like next week even. But 2022 is the year that we all deserve. As DC fans, we have suffered so badly. Like I feel like 2014, 2015 building up to the buff. Yeah, it was so good. We were so excited. We were laughing at the Marvel movies, going, we're going to get our Justice League soon. And then it all fell flat in the face. It was horrible as fans because we had to deal with it, on a daily basis. People laughing at us. This is even before the fighting amongst each other started. It was just the Marvel fans and critics attacking us. It felt like just a real siege mentality. And we've had to suffer. We really have had to suffer the last couple of years. And I feel like last year was a good year with Zack Snyder's Justice League and obviously the Suicide Squad. This year started absolutely amazing with Peacemaker. And I feel like we're going to just be eating so well this year. I really do believe this is the year of DC. Yeah,
this is definitely DC's year, 2022. And it's kicking off with the Batman. Can't wait. March 4th, everybody. Get your tickets. That's it for now. We'll definitely be talking about the Batman movie when it drops. We'll have our first reactions and everything to that when that drops and stuff. Definitely. So, everybody, look forward to that. Anyway, that's going to do it. We'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.